Hello, everybody, and welcome to Rise of the Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Brownie. And today we are here with yet another episode of our great and terrible series of Star Wars films. Today we'll be looking at why Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, is a terrible movie.
And a terrible movie it is. And here
Horrible.
are all the reasons
I
why.
can't even.
Just in case you guys aren't familiar with what we're doing here, or if this is the first episode that you've seen, we're doing 2 episodes per film. We're doing an episode of why it is terrible, which is this one, and another episode talking about all the reasons why it is a great movie. And that's the one that came out last week. You can go and check this video up in the corner here. That'll link you right to that if you want to celebrate everything that is Star Wars Episode 7. But this is where we take a critical look and tell you all the reasons why it's not good.
All right, well, let's jump in.
Let's jump in indeed.
All right, so we get the opening establishing shot, and there's some stuff that happens that sets the movie up for failure right from the very get-go.
Without the Jedi, there can be no balance in the Force.
Well, because of you, now we have a chance. The General's been after this for a long time.
For the General, to me, she is royalty.
Well, she certainly is that.
You know, you've got the plans, and you have the guy that has the plans. What significance does he have? He's made out to be like he's important.
The old ally that nobody cares about.
Right.
To me, she's royalty.
Well, okay.
Yeah, like he's interesting.
Right.
But literally, once you stop seeing the old ally, he's never mentioned again.
Right.
He hasn't come back.
Nobody gives 2 farts that he died.
See, there's a good point. Leia could have brought that up at the end of the movie, like, oh, how was old man so-and-so? Oh, he died. That's so sad. But nothing.
Yeah,
she doesn't even care. She cared more about Both and spies than she did about, where's Mon Mothma? Anyways, it was just a funny thing because they give them, like you brought up in our pre-session, is that, people, if they would have gave less information about them or given a little bit more, anything would have been better than the amount that we got.
Right. The line saying, to me, she's royalty, completely unnecessary because that builds him up to be something
more important.
More than he actually is given screen time for.
It's like, it's good writing if you're trying to allude to something that's important, but if it doesn't pay something off, you're setting something up for no payoff.
Right.
And so it's one of those things that's just sort of disappointing. So in that same section of the film, Jeremy brought this up so that Kylo comes down, the stormtroopers light the place up, they get Poe, but BB-8 gets away, and we know they have droid scanning technology, even dating back to the original trilogy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason they don't scan for BB-8.
Yeah, well, and so you get the shot, right? And it's a little camp in the middle of nowhere with nothing nearby. So as a precaution, you think you would just do a quick little scan to make sure there isn't a ball rolling away. Because you find them real quick, it would have been over. So,
well, I thought at this point they didn't realize that the plans had been given to him. I think they only realized that once they'd kidnapped Poe and extracted the information from him. But then they could have still, if they knew the droid was on Jakku, they could have done a scan.
Yeah.
I mean, how easy would it have been just to have been like, oh, scan them. Oh, look, there's the BB-8 droid we're looking for.
Yeah. So it's this is like every other droid in every other Star Wars movie. If people would just pay attention to the droids, the movies would be a lot shorter.
Absolutely.
So, for future reference for us, always pay attention to droids.
Yeah, once we're trying to quell our own rebellions, always pay attention to the rebel droids.
Exactly.
All right, so we get to advance to the movie because I love we'll cover that more in the other parts of the. Check out the other episode to see what I love about The Force Awakens. Anyways, so the Millennium Falcon gets stolen.
Yes.
And you brought this up. It's like they don't recognize the ship.
Ah! What about that ship? That much garbage! The garbage will do.
Yeah, it sort of drives me a little bit crazy because she even mentions like when she's like, "Oh, that's garbage" or whatever, and that doesn't reveal like that's nice, but she knows what the Millennium Falcon is later in the movie when she's talking about. She's like, Han Solo, the smuggler.
Yeah. Han Solo, the rebellion general?
No, the smuggler.
Wasn't he a war hero?
This is a ship that made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs.
12.
Yeah.
And this is the Millennium Falcon?
You know?
I mean, to be fair, she didn't recognize Han Solo either.
No,
but
she did. Well,
after he said that he was Han Solo or whatever, that's when she was like, "Oh, you're Han Solo." Like she's heard the name, but she's never seen pictures.
So that's the thing too. It's like you think like everybody who's involved in the rebellion would be famous. We know generally what all of the people that were in the American Revolution look like, and we only have paintings.
Yeah, I know who George Washington is.
So and
I saw him.
Yeah, and it's like then he had the boat that he went across the Delaware, the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, I need to rename that now. Go hack Wikipedia.
When George Washington made the Delaware River run in under 12 parsecs. Anyway, it's just
parsecs is distance. P.S.
Yeah, but there's the black hole, the maw, the whole thing, the explain away hand waving that everyone does. Anyway. It's just weird to me that, like, he has a reputation as a smuggler and a general. His ship has a reputation.
Right.
But somehow people don't know what it looks like.
Right.
How could it just sit on Jakku
and she even knew the history of it.
Yeah. And it's
like a plot and blah, blah, blah. And
who had it? Duquesne?
I stole it from Uncle Plot. He stole it from the Irving boys who stole it from Duquesne.
Who stole it from me? Well, you tell him that Han Solo just stole back the Millennium Falcon for good.
This is a Millennium Falcon. You're Han Solo.
I used to be.
Yeah, it's just.
That's true, yeah.
So it's just like one of those things that's just weird to me. It's like you can't have a very famous ship and acknowledge it as being very famous and also not recognize it.
Right.
It was just like that, even from the first time that I watched the movie, it was like, that's kind of weird.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next one. So smoke, toxins. This one was kind of struck me as weird.
Back on the Millennium Falcon.
They are, worried about this gas thing breaking loose and spreading poisonous gas everywhere.
Do you think this will work on the stormtroopers?
Yeah, their masks filter out smoke, not toxins.
So Rey mentions why don't if the stormtroopers are going to come get us, we'll release this poison, but won't the masks filter it out? And then Finn goes, oh, their masks filter smoke, not toxins. Mm-hmm. What good does it add a filtration system where you're going to filter out smoke, but not poison?
Yeah.
And they have the technology.
Well, don't you get carbon monoxide and stuff with smoke and
you can use an actual respirator when you're painting cars and stuff to avoid toxic fumes. Absolutely.
You'd think they would.
Yeah, and then there's a whole thing that we sort of discussed this when we were talking about what we were going to talk about on this thing. It's like it doesn't seem like when Finn's taking his helmet off and on, it doesn't even look like there's even a seal.
Right.
So how did it even stop smoke?
Right.
So it's and I don't know if it's just a convenience thing for being able to get into and out of the moment with him taking his helmet off and everything. But canonically maybe they do seal up, but. If they do seal, they should obviously design them to filter out poisons.
You'd think they'd have some tight rubber, the full body suit, that
wetsuit.
Yeah, that you tightens at the neck.
Right.
You'd think they'd have something like that, but pulled over the head so that it tightens.
Like a balaclava or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a rubber or something.
Yep.
I don't know.
Seal out those. It just seems like they can now track people through hyperspace, but they can't filter out.
That's the.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that in the episode 8.
Get to
oh my goodness! You're getting me all fired up now.
We're not there yet, Chris. Hold it in.
All right, so we're focusing still pretty much on the first third of the movie here. Yep. We're sort of we kind of hop around a bit, but this is another thing in that same general area. So Han has that freighter that he captures the Millennium Falcon in. Yep. They have that moment, we're home, blah, blah, blah. And then they get boarded by some other people. It's
yes.
Oh, great. Sequavian death gang must have tracked us from then, too.
How, I understand that you move faster, you go through hyperspace, you can track people or whatever. It's just everybody tracking everybody.
Yes.
It's so this is actually a bonus thing. It's within minutes.
Right.
There's these other people that are like, oh, Han Solo.
Oh, he's appeared on the radar.
So it's just whatever, it's fine. But
Well, it's almost like when you catch a fish, and then that fish was you caught a fish that was gonna, and then another fish comes up and eats it. It's like Han got the first fish, and somebody's eating the fish that.
There's always a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger fish.
And then Han breaks out of that fish.
Yes. And so then there's the two rival factions, or maybe they're not rival factions, but the two factions that Han owes money to.
Kanji Club and the Guavian Death Gang.
Han Solo, you're a dead man.
Politique. What's the problem?
The problem is we loaned you 50,000 for this job.
Can you see them?
I heard you also borrowed 50,000 from Kanji Club.
You know you can't trust those little freaks.
And they didn't seem that intimidating to me.
Yeah, if it was they just
they want their money, right? They want the 50,000 credits. But then they're also like vying, like, we owe Kanji Club money too.
We want our money back now.
You think hunting Rathgars is cheap? I spent that money.
Kanji Club wants their investment back too.
I never made a deal with Kanji Club.
Tell that to Kanji Club.
If I go up to somebody and I want my money back, I don't tell them, hey, just don't forget, you can give me 20 and give them 20 because you owe, that other guy money. You care about yourself. You want your money from them.
Yeah, it's such a weird interaction. It's like just to have the reveal.
Oh, and then they're there too.
Yeah, and it's like you think that they would immediately start shooting at each other.
Right.
It was just a cluster, and none of it really made any sense. It would have been better if it was just like a bounty hunter that's like, I'm here to collect on your bounty for whatever. And
could you imagine?
Oh, people would have lost their minds.
You owe Jabba lots of money, and then he gets eaten by a raptor.
His jetpack breaks.
He's trying to fly away. Chewie hits him in the back or something.
Okay, so speaking of Rathars.
They look like that.
Rathars did not look that good.
The CGI was like okay, but the way that they moved was primarily
that
the
was
issue
it's my disagreement. I don't like the way they moved either. You have this big beast, but it just rolls like a meatball.
And it's so fast, too. There's like a size to speed disparity. It's like, sure, it makes it scarier, kind of, but it's like, it just makes it make less sense. It's like, how can you be, like, I mean, it's like elephant-ish size.
Right.
Yeah.
But it moves crazy fast.
Right.
Not that elephants can't move quickly in a straight line.
They've got Jedi Force speed, don't you know?
I do have to say, Chris, when you say it might be more intimidating if they're rolling at you or something, I'm thinking that's not that intimidating, but I just tried to think of another fast, big animal, and the first thing that came to mind was a hippo. And hippos are really fast, and they're big, and they're scary, and they're probably pretty scary when they're running at you. But it would be terrifying if one was rolling at you. That would be pretty terrifying. A big hippo just rolling down there. Get away!
So there is something about the way that the combination of how it was built and how it moved.
Right.
That just like this
doesn't quite fit.
We need to make our own fan cut and replace all the raptors with hippos.
Raptors.
And so Finn is like, you got hippos here? Where are you storing them? And then just show the hippo sucking up against the glass. We're coming from you,
Oh my goodness.
See, make a silly beast, we pick on it.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so then part of the reason I think why these clubs don't really, or these gangs don't really have any impact is like we've never seen them before, and you don't really get any idea of what they're about. Right. Like,
not any main story.
Even the guy that's messing with Luke in episode 4, that's like, we've got the death sentence on 12 systems.
He was more intimidating.
He was, because it's like he's at least giving some of his credibility.
Yes.
These guys are just like, we found your ship, Han Solo, and then they died.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, so...
And how do they know about BB-8 already?
That BB unit, the First Order is looking for one just like it. And 2 fugitives.
First I've heard of it.
Yeah,
they like recognize the droid.
There's like so again, like if information is able to spread that fast, Millennium Falcon should definitely people know what it looks like.
Exactly.
True.
But
Yeah, the First Order's looking for a droid like that. Like, all right. Well, here, eat. You're gonna be breakfast.
Yeah. So, and then speaking of things that don't really have enough backstory, we get to introduce to I can't remember what his title is now. Supreme Leader Snoke.
Go. Oversee preparations.
Yes, Supreme Leader.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it? Yes.
Supreme Leader Snoke, and like we're drawing a little bit into another film, but like we never satisfactorily get any information about him other than he's leading the thing and he's a big scary guy.
Right. Well, like we talked about before, like Palpatine, we had no idea about him, but he wasn't front and center as the big baddie.
Right. He was able to be portrayed as a workable villain.
Right. They just mentioned him in the other movies, and you're actually introduced to him in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, in person. So you do get a hologram of him in Empire, but he's still just bossing Vader around just for a quick scene, and then Vader's back in charge.
Right. It seems like Vader's calling his own shots, and Kylo Ren isn't.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren is just reporting to him, where Vader was able to, call his own shots and make his own.
And it seems like they occupy a similar level in the hierarchy too. Yes. It's not like Kylo's a way lower rank than all these other people. He's he's up there.
No, he's telling Admiral Hux there what's going on.
Yeah, and it's just
or in the whole you ever have like a sibling and they go tell mom or dad on you?
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
The interaction with Hux and Kylo Ren in front of Snoke felt very.
It's exactly like that.
It's like he didn't do this and it didn't have this air of Star Wars.
Untrained but stronger than she knows.
And the droid.
Ren believed it was no longer valuable to us. That the girl was all we needed. As a result, the droid has most likely been returned to the hands of the enemy. They may have the map already.
If somebody's going to be reporting to Snoke, it needs to be Kylo Ren and Kylo Ren alone. Hux should be smart enough to be able to.
And then Hux should be reporting to Kylo Ren. And then if he disagrees, then he's just doing stuff behind his back, and that's a lot more interesting dynamic than being at the same level, and then vying for who's got the right whatever.
Well, because then can Kylo Ren tell the stormtroopers what to do? Who knows? It's that Hux's army.
Well, I mean, he did technically tell all the stormtroopers to kill the people on Jakku.
That's true. So he's got
that one little contingent. Yeah. But anyway, it's kind of a mess, and so the relationship's weird. The character gets no explanation whatsoever, and in a vacuum, it's like, oh, that's kind of unsatisfactory. But then now knowing what we know, just projecting a little bit into Episode 8, very unsatisfactory as a character as a whole.
I agree.
Right, I totally agree.
It's tough. And he's way too powerful for his britches. If you're going to make... they made him... and this is jumping into 8, but in 8, you see his power, Snoke's power. And you just don't... You can't display that much power with zero backstory. None whatsoever.
Yeah. Right.
He's doing stuff we've never even seen in the Star Wars universe.
So I'm hoping... So this is going to date this a little bit. I'm hoping Episode 9 fixes some of these problems, but as it stands right now...
Right.
As of this recording, Snoke, there's a lot of problems with him.
So we got Snoke, right?
Yeah.
And so let's talk about Rey and then her information and her backstory.
Yeah.
Rey's an amazing character. She seems to be the main character.
Who I'm going to be at Galaxy Congress coming weekend.
Anyways, so we got Rey, amazing character, really cool thing, but her backstory is included, or they're leading up to it being an important factor. They make it seem, they plant the seed in the viewer's mind that her history is somewhat important because they address it, they talk about it. There's the whole lightsaber scene where she picks it up and it speaks to her. And you hear Obi-Wan's voice and
so Kylo when there's there was a girl and Kylo's what girl, and Maz seems like she
who's the girl,
and even Leia has a reaction tell me about the girl or whatever, so I mean there's people
anything else?
The two were accompanied by a girl.
What girl?
Who's the girl?
They know who she is. They have an idea.
Yeah, so it's another one of those things like the old friend on Jakku where it's like they're setting stuff up that doesn't get paid off.
Exactly.
It doesn't get paid off in this movie especially. We'll see moving forward, but in episode 7, there's lots of setup and no delivery. And it seemed like it just sort of makes them seem sort of empty in that regard.
Promise and withdraw. But there's a lot of promises, and they keep like pulling them back.
And then sort of on top of that, since we're talking about Rey apparently knows how to do everything.
Right.
I was wondering we were going to bring this one up.
So as
She's
like
a jack of all trades.
We cannot run them!
We might! In that quad jumper!
Hey, we need a pilot!
We've got one!
You!
Come on, baby, don't let me down.
Compressor.
Drive blows are going to be pieces of us in 3 different systems. What'd you do?
I bypassed the compressor.
So, again, like, you don't need to sit there and go into a long dissertation about how she learns how to do XYZ, but you, like, in some things that I'm thinking of specifically, like when the Falcon's malfunctioning, she and Han are both trying to fix it, and she bypasses the thing or whatever. If Han's just like, "How'd you know how to do that?" or whatever, she's like, "Oh, well, when I took apart the whatever, I noticed blah blah blah."
Right.
You know, or it's like, you don't be a scrapper for 20 years and not learn anything about a ship or something like that.
Right.
Any type of throwaway line like that just establishes the credibility of her action.
Yep.
Right.
As far as we can tell, she's never flown a spaceship.
Exactly.
And she's never not just stripped spaceships of parts. So it's like, how would you know how to fit? Like, if you just junk cars, you might get a general idea of like the components that there are in there, but you wouldn't know specifically how they interact with each other.
Right.
And then you'd think on a grand scale with a Star Destroyer, there's a lot of extra parts.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just like, there's a lot of things where it's like, oh, we have this problem. Oh, Rey knows how to fix it. You know?
Right.
So it's like, and it's fine if it's justified by her character, but they don't really justify it with her character.
And we talked about how did Leia know how to fix the Millennium Falcon, because it is like this Mod Podge, just hunk of
yeah,
you know,
same thing. Everybody knows how to fix the Millennium Falcon. That's
I
we
was
figured it
just
out.
about to say, Raise the Skywalker confirmed.
Oh yeah! If you're a Skywalker, you know how to fix. Except Luke never fixed the Millennium Falcon.
He didn't need to. I guess he's too busy flying X-wings and shooting at womp rats.
So,
but yeah, that was one of the things that I had. We all kind of had the consensus, you know, when we watched the movie.
All right, so for this last section, I think there's just a couple of things we could kind of skip over.
Yep.
A couple of them. So let's talk about Maz a little bit.
All right.
So, like, in particular, so we'll get to the technical part later, but how did she get Luke's lightsaber?
That's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, the last time you see it, it's falling from Bespin. Like,
yeah, just hurtling through the atmosphere of a gas giant planet.
Well, there's a couple different ways, like, I think that they could have addressed it. But here's why I think it's important that, again, you have to talk about this stuff. She could have brought it up to Han while Rey was downstairs looking for it or about to interact with it. She could have quickly explained it. But the part that makes it annoying and why we bring it up is because when he asks her about it, she's like, that's a story for a different time.
I've had this for ages. Kept it locked away.
Where'd you get that?
A good question. For another time. Take it. Find your friend.
So it's just like you've written it off as not important. Like, it's there, but you're telling me you don't care about how it got there.
Yeah.
Like, we have to accept it as the audience and then move on. And nobody likes to be told that.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, it's like, and I understand, like, you can't have a movie where you're just explaining everything that happened in the last 30 years.
Right.
I get that, but a lot of the things they decided to skip over are things that are just like one or two lines just to give a bit of context.
We're big EU people. There isn't a reason, unless it really is pivotal later on. I doubt it's going to get explained in the next movie.
Oh, gosh, no.
But they could have explained it away in EU stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Any type of
a comic
leading
book,
up
yeah.
into it.
So Lucasfilms, read a Maz book, please.
Yeah.
Because that seems like it's the perfect type of thing for it. If you, as a fan, want to go and take it upon yourself to learn these backstories, here's the official answer.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, they just must be holding these ones so close to the chest that they don't want anything to ruin their precious trilogy.
Yeah, and it's just yet another case. I think if we can summarize the things that we find most problematic with the movie, it's set up without payoff.
Yes.
Right.
And we had a very brief conversation when we watched the movie about how, like, it's sort of a J.J. Abrams thing to do a ton of setup stuff
Lost.
and not and not worry about paying it off until you have to pay it off.
Right.
You know, and then so that's where.
And if he was doing all 3 movies, it might have been different.
Yeah.
When he handed off to somebody else, if that director doesn't want to go that direction.
Yeah, so either they get a lot of flack for changing direction.
Which happened.
You know, so like J.J. Abrams is partially responsible for Rian Johnson's perception.
Right.
But then Rian Johnson also, like, you kind of got to take what is given to you and go in a direction with it that makes sense as well. But again, we're on episode 8. Our discipline.
You did want to just watch episode 8. You wanted to do the back-to-back double feature.
I did. I was all in on going back to back on it. But since we're talking about Maz, we might as well just jump into this area here because we already sort of covered that. So her CGI is not the best.
Han Solo!
Hey, Maz.
Where's my boyfriend?
No, it's in. So again, there's CGI that is done really well in the movie.
It's
Really well.
tons of CGI that's unnoticeable.
Tons. And then we mentioned it earlier, you got the Rathtars, and then you've got Maz. She just looks composited into the shot. She just doesn't blend in. She's too bright. They could have made her a little bit more. Or she's a Yoda-ish character. Would it have been that hard to make a puppet?
Yeah, and they have tons of other aliens that are puppets too. Granted, they're background characters and stuff.
Well,
but
why not even like have a little person be Maz?
Yeah, with makeup.
You know, that wouldn't have been hard.
No.
At all.
And like with the amount of screen time that they have too, it's like
wouldn't have been a big deal.
I know, it's real popular to like be like CGI or whatever, right? But it does take you out of the movie when it's like now they're talking to the CGI character for the next 15 minutes, you know, and it's just
she has this air about her which is cool.
She's an awesome character.
Yeah.
No, Maz is amazing.
She commands this attention, but when you focus on her, it's blatant that she's CGI, and that's the problem.
Yeah, so, and then, there's just tons of little things like that where it's just like, it's not the direction we would have gotten in. Granted, we didn't make the movie, but this is just the things that take you out of the film. This is why it's not great.
Right.
You know, are these little moments. And so, really, I think we just hit this and we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
So, I hate how Kylo Ren acts like a 12-year-old.
No.
Like, something doesn't go his way, he takes out his lightsaber and he destroys millions of credits worth of friggin' computers. He's like, why'd you let what happen? You know, just like, oh.
We have no confirmation, but we believe FN 2187 may have helped in the escape.
Yeah.
So here's the points that I make. The only positive point about Kylo Ren's outbreak is we get the little dash of humor with the stormtroopers turning around and walking away.
That's fun. That's like the
hilarious.
only good thing about the whole thing.
But besides that, we've got Vader being his idol. Mm-hmm. And Vader was very, not Anakin, but Vader was very calm and collected, or at least appeared to be.
Something didn't go his way. He just force choked someone.
He just, boom. And that made him intimidating.
Yeah, it was like controlled anger instead of wild rage.
Yes.
Right.
He still used his anger, but it was...
Yeah, he used it in the way that was like most beneficial to what he was trying to do. It wasn't just like uncontrolled.
Right.
And then we all had this census, and this is the biggest one. Like we had our "What could we change about Return of the Jedi?" I'd say if I could change one thing about the Force Awakens, it would just be when Kylo Ren decides to reveal his face.
That happens when you're being hunted by a creature in a mask.
Oh,
yeah, during the interrogation, so we don't get. So I'm going to say comparing him to Darth Vader, because that's what he's doing as a character for himself.
Yep.
Darth Vader never took his helmet off in front of somebody.
Nope.
Right.
Luke, at the end, when he was redeemed by Luke, he's like, "Take this mask off so I can look at you with my own eyes," and it was a huge moment. And it's like, it's like you got to see who he was, but then also it's like that solidified the whole thing coming back around. He's like, this is my son. I need to see you before I die. Type of thing. Just powerful, impactful, just a perfect moment.
Right.
Kylo's just like, I'm going to interrogate you now.
Yep.
Some little girl is trying, like, oh, I'm talking to a monster in a mask. And he's like, oh, he wants to this.
Yeah, and like, I can't, like, what it feels like to me is like, we have this actor, people need to know who he is because he's a starring guy, so we need it. It's like every other movie where people, like, when Spider-Man takes off his mask, all those situations are so that the actor gets more face time.
Right.
And it, regardless of film, when that stuff happens, I hate it.
Yes.
It's like Batman would never take off his mask. Spider-Man would never take off his mask. Superman would never put the glasses back on.
Right.
You know, like, it's just things that they wouldn't do. Like, and then, like, there's characters like Star-Lord and stuff, or Iron Man, where it's like you're exposing a weakness, regardless if people know who you are or not. You're just giving them a weak point. Just keep that stuff buttoned up. We know who it is. We're like... But it's just stuff
they
like
can
that
get
drives
screen
me.
time in private, or even like the stormtroopers could even know who he is or something. But
Yeah,
we
when he's talking, it's the first time she
reveals
revealed
him to Rey.
Yeah, it was a very like it just seemed like a weak moment to do it when he's confronting Han.
Exactly.
Like, and they have this like again a father son moment. That's where I think the parallel should have been, where he finally takes the mask off.
Yeah. Right.
And like it just would have been way better. I could understand it there.
Yep, and that drives the earlier reveal that makes it why it's a hard pill to swallow is because in the same movie you have the perfect opportunity to have the first time reveal.
Yeah, like 40 minutes later.
Just hold it out, boom, we get to see who it is. They have a father-son moment, and then that makes the betrayal of Kylo Ren killing Han that much worse.
Yeah, because like you get to this humanizing moment. He's no longer a monster in a mask. He's Han's son.
Right.
You get to see him as Han's son, and then he kills Han. And that just would have had way more impact to it. Not that it wasn't like a shocking moment anyway, but it would have added that extra layer of like emotional depth to it.
So that's it. We actually did it. We said why The Force Awakens is a terrible movie.
So if you need a palate cleanser, again, up in the corner, we've got the info card. You can watch the reasons why we love Episode 7, why it's a great movie. But these are the grievances we have. This is our Festivus. We got to have the airing of grievances. Let you guys know why it's not perfect and things that we would have changed, would have liked to have seen improved. And I think we can say that hopefully Episode 9 does some work on this, because like you sort of have to take them in as a group.
Yeah.
And we'll see if J.J. Abrams sort of pays off what he's set up. But that being said, if you want to pay us off for watching this video, go ahead and hit the like button. It shows you that you want to see more videos like this. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can come back, check out the things that we're doing. Ring the notification bell if you want to be notified of everything that we upload. It means a lot to us. It shows that you're all in with the type of stuff that we're making. And comment down below if you have any rebuttals to the points that we've made, because we'd love to talk to you about it. Or if you want to add in anything that you felt made Episode 7 not such a great movie. We'd love to talk to you down below about that stuff. Obviously, we're really interested in these type of things, so we want to carry the conversation on down in the comments below. And, of course...
May the Force be with you.